Today, we're going to be discussing about how to ace the TOEFL, that is the test of English as a foreign language. This is a standardized test used by several top schools to ascertain international student aptitude within the English language. And this test is used to determine the language abilities of non-native English speaker by testing their abilities in speaking, listening, reading, and writing skills in English. This video is a step-by-step guide on how you can ace this test, with tips and tricks being shared by a scholar who got 118 out of 120. That is huge, guys. Let's listen to him. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, if this is your first time on this channel, you are welcome. My name is Esther. I'm an international student from Nigeria, and I share tips with my friends on how to study in the USA. Today, we're going to be talking about how you can ace the test of English as a foreign language, that is the TOEFL test. And I have a scholar with me in the building today, Oyedele. He's going to be talking about how he was able to ace this test and getting a score of 118 out of 120. Guys, he only missed 2 points from the test. He's here in the building today to share the tips and the tricks he used in the test with you guys. Oyedele, the mic is over to you.
Hello guys, good day. My name is Oyedele. I don't know how Esther wants this to run. What exactly you want me to start with? Perhaps introduction of myself. So my name is Oyedele. I finished from Unilag, University of Lagos. And yeah, I would be going to the US for my graduate studies come this fall. And one of the exams that I took was the TOEFL. And yeah, as Esther had said, it was a requirement that I had to take. And yeah, I did pretty well. I did 118 over 120. Yeah. So thank you. So how do you want this to run? Do you want me to talk about the test? Just go straight to the tips. What exactly?
Just go straight to the tips. I'm sure that's
right, cool.
what I'm waiting to hear. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So the TOEFL is in 4 parts. So there's listening, there's speaking, there's writing, and there is reading. And I had 30 points in each of reading, speaking, listening, and then writing was where I had 28 over 30, so making it 118 over. So I'm going to just touch on each section, what I did for each of the sections, and then hopefully that would help whoever is listening to this how to prep. So I'll start with the reading section. So for the reading section, generally, TOEFL, when I prepared, I made it a point of reading the entire essay before going to the questions. Now there are different textbooks that will tell you read the question first, go to the passage. That's like a direct, so you know exactly what you're hunting for. But I feel like what I do with reading the entire passage first before looking at the questions is just have like a big picture. Now is it helps two things. Sometimes you can run out of time and you just have to just probably guess. So it's not as if when I was writing the test, I was totally sure I was going to get 30 over 30. I knew that push comes to shove, I might have to guess on some questions. So I feel the best strategy is to always just skim through the passage first, just get like the big picture, and then you go to the question. Now, pretty much, the questions are literally just paraphrasing what is written inside of the passage. Some people get scared, which is natural, but I think with practice, you start to build that muscle and that confidence. The first question, I wouldn't even say the first, the second, or the third question. Questions are actually kind of like arranged based on paragraph 1, paragraph 2. So as you're answering the questions, most of the time, they're even structured based on where you are in the passage. So if you're on like question 3 or 4, you know that, okay, probably you're answering this in the middle of the passage. This is not a hard and fast rule. Sometimes it could be different, sometimes it could be the same. All I'm just saying is think of the questions as a paraphrasing of what's written in the passage. So yeah, they're just trying to trick you, and then you are just looking for where to bring out what they're asking for. It's really as simple as that. I think the only thing that might just confuse some people sometimes is things like, what does this imply? or another word suitable for something. And really, it's just like saying, how else can you say this? Or what other word can you use for this? To be honest, just demystify the process, read the passage, and then follow it structured and just think of the questions as paraphrasing. And that's what really works for me in the reading. For listening, I had a folder which I would share with Esther so that she can add to the description of this video. So for the listening, when I did the test, there were like 6 types of listening, and each of the listening had something like there's a particular type of listening. So you know that you're going to be listening about a conversation between two students, or you're going to be listening to a lecturer teaching something. Like with the structure of when you go through the folder I'm going to share, you already like have a mental state of what exactly you are listening for. Now, with that preparedness in mind, you are actively jotting down some points. Now, a trick, something some people might think they have like very good memory and then they are just listening without jotting. But to be honest, I say that that's quite risky. The reason why I would recommend you jotting as you're listening is because it makes you listen actively. So you are listening with 100% of your hearing, like you are very focused and you are listening, and then you are jotting. And you don't. I'm not saying just like the lecturer said photosynthesis is this. You can just use I wouldn't say shorthand, but just some little things. Just P, like you can just say LSPH feeding. That literally just saying lecturer said photosynthesis is feeding. Like just something quick because the lecturer is going to keep speaking and you do not have the luxury of time to write the lecturer said because you're going to miss a lot of things. So quick keywords, quick just shorthands. Make sure you are actively jotting and make sure that you've practiced enough so that you are going into the listening section knowing what you are expecting, knowing that I'm going to be listening to a lecturer or I'm going to be listening to two students having a conversation, and you already know the frame of questions they're asking, so you are just going in prepared. That's literally it. For the speaking section, I find that it's more about structure than it is about your accent, because it's like I said, it's like Esther mentioned too, it's an international test. Nobody's expecting you to come speaking like the Queen or speaking like you've lived in the US for like years, but they expect you to say some certain things within 30 seconds, or they expect you to say some certain things within 1 minute. So if they tell you speak about a time when you were happiest or speak about something, there is a structure of what they expect you to say, some certain points that they expect you to touch within 30 seconds. So you have to keep on honing that skill such that you are saying everything that you are expected to say within 30 seconds. Or if they tell you listen to a lecturer give a lecture on a topic and then could you summarize what the lecturer was saying, when you go through the folder, like I said, because the folder is quite important, it really helps me. You know that these are the things you have to say to get maximum points. These are the things you would say that would give you maybe less than maximum point, but not way far away from maximum points. So while I was preparing for TOEFL, I was honing my skill of time management and content, caring less about my accent or intonation or whatnot. So I was making sure that I wasn't necessarily concerned about whether I was speaking like a Oyinbo boy, that's Nigerian lingo for a white guy, but making sure that I was focusing on content and timing, and that really helped because, and also like I said, once you've practiced enough, you are going into the test with confidence. And to be honest, nothing beats confidence. On the day of the test, I was really confident. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do well in this test. So when you're going into a test with bare level of confidence, you kind of like shaky, and when your voice starts to crack, it even derails what you're about to say. So like the key words for speaking is just timing, content, confidence, and really don't depend too much about your intonation or how you speak. Now for the writing, you're going to be writing two essays. Um, one is, I think one is descriptive and one is argumentative. So for the first essay, well, like everything, I keep going back to the word practice still, because it's really practice. Structure too, because what you're expecting to see, a the introduction, a conclusion, and then 3 points. Simple as that. What should be in your 3 points? For each 3 points, you're also going to have an introduction, the body, and the conclusion of the points. So when you have a structure, you are not scared, because all what you need to do is for every topic, just bring out 3 points. And then okay, first paragraph, I'm just going to write an introduction. Second paragraph, I'm going to write the introduction of my first point, and then the body of my first point and the conclusion of my first point. And then second paragraph and the third paragraph, and then the last paragraph is the conclusion of the whole essay. So at the end of the day, once you have a structure, the only thing that is affecting you is time, because you know what you are going to do. So peradventure, you even see that you are running out of time, you could reduce your 3 points to 2 points or whatever. But I think the most important thing that is being tested is you being able to write in a structured way, and also you knowing what you want to write. So once you already have what you want to write down, and you know the structure that you are going to use to write it, then pretty much you are really going to write something good. I think the only thing you just have to budget for is about like 5 minutes left, where you can correct like typos and whatnot. Especially if you are not like used to typing on a keyboard or typing fast, or you could be jittery. Yeah, then correct typos, because if you write a very good essay with like a lot of typos, then it makes your essay seem bad, even though your content was really good. So I would always recommend just give that time to like edit it. And still for the argument, so it's pretty much the same thing. You can get 3 arguments on lock, an introduction, a conclusion, and then budgeting that last 5 minutes or so for like correcting the typos that you probably would have made. Then pretty much you're going to have like a very good score in the writing section. So yeah, it's a very simple test. That's the way I see it. I don't think anyone can do well. I'm not saying anyone should get less than a certain score, but I feel anyone can do well with, even if you are short on time, with 2 concrete weeks of practice and practicing with good material. I feel you can do really well in the test. The only thing I did was the day before the test, once you register for TOEFL, you're allowed to take a full-length practice test. I would always recommend that you do that. It also helps you build that mental restraint, that muscle to know, okay, I can sit down for this long and I'm ready to take the test. So once you take that practice test, the full test should be pretty much of a breeze, to be honest. So yeah, those are my tips on how to ace the TOEFL test across the possibilities.
Thank you so much, Oluwatobi, for sharing the tips. Yeah, I mean, those were all well said. I remember when I was preparing for my own test, I also like made use of some of these tips that you've mentioned, because there were also some materials that have like similar guide on what to do, especially using like the ETS guide. Was that guide came in like so handy. I just have like few questions for you regarding, like, I know some students are facing challenges before, like, while preparing for the test. What challenges do you think you faced while you were taking the test, and how were you able to overcome the challenges?
I think the only major challenge for me then was time, pretty much, and juggling with work, because I was like working a full-time job, so I barely had time to like sit down and take the TOEFL test. But I think about 3 days to my test, I was able to get a leave, or was it like a down period? I can't really remember, but I know that about 3 days to my test, like I had time and I kind of like zoned in. You know what, this is what I want to do for like this 3 days. I mean, I had been practicing, but practicing passively. And then when it was like time for like, okay, the test is in like 3 days, I kind of like zoned in properly, knowing that I'm going to focus this burst of energy into practicing for this test, and then writing it on Saturday, and then after Saturday I'm good. So yeah, aside from that, initially it was getting good material to practice with too, because the TOEFL is not like the GRE or any other test where you are just like writing or like just writing and writing. You're not listening to anything. But in TOEFL, you're actually listening to something and you are also speaking. So it's a bit tricky when you feel that you can get a bit complacent in the sense that imagine you're practicing for speaking, but you're not using your timer. So you're like, okay, I think in your head, you're like, okay, yeah, I didn't take more than 1 minute. But you actually did take more than 1 minute. And it's only on the test day you know that you did take more than 1 minute. So you don't want to be caught in that space where when you start practicing, you start to realize, wow, I'm actually taking a lot of time. Wow, 1 minute is really short. Wow, 30 seconds is really short. So initially it was that complacent as to not wanting to really simulate real life test scenarios. But when I just told myself I need to practice with a timer, and I also need to like really listen to TOEFL samples, then I was able to overcome those. So those were my main challenges really.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. I know a lot of students like that have spoken with me also have these challenges of like combining preparing for the TOEFL or the GRE test and work, because most of them are doing like full-time jobs. And good to know you're able to like share some of the tricks on how you're able to overcome these challenges. Thank you so much, Oluwatobi, for coming today to speak to my friends, the viewers. I hope you guys have learned some of the tricks Oluwatobi used in acing his TOEFL score. And guys, he got 118 out of 120. Like, he just missed 2 questions. You can also do these things if you made use of some of these tricks and tips. I'll be dropping the link to the Google Drive for the document he used for his preparation in the description below. So look out for that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Wait, if you have not subscribed, I really don't know what you're waiting for, because I share content like this and help you students to move abroad, to study abroad, especially in the USA on this channel. So please go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in my next video. Till then, stay tuned. Peace.